Good morning, EPQ students. Welcome to week 7 of the EPQ, and in today's lesson we're going to be talking about your research question, and we're also going to be looking at the initial ideas, and you're going to start some of the key paperwork that is necessary to do well on the EPQ. So I hope that you've all been reading a great deal, that you have your mind map ready, that you've been working on your draft research question. It doesn't have to be perfect, as we'll see in this lesson, but you have to be making progress. A reminder that you must be keeping research notes all the time with key dates and facts, that you should be keeping your citations, your references carefully, and that your folder should be filling up with relevant literature that you're reading on your topic. And as I said, in today's lesson, we'll focus very much on the draft research question. Now, it's always important that we look at the overall scheme, and this is term 1. As you know, we're now looking at the research question today. Next week, we'll be looking at critical evaluation of sources, and then we will start to write your research proposal. There's also a reminder that you should be going to the Year 13 presentation evening. That will be part of the EPQ course assessment. And at the end of the term, we'll be looking at your research proposal and making sure that you fulfilled the criteria necessary to begin the EPQ itself. So, going back to the research question which we're looking at today, just to remind you that you've started with the topic, you then develop a working knowledge of the topic through reading, and we're at this stage now where you're going to be recording a working question. Again, I want to emphasize that you're able to change this question a number of times, in fact, up to 4 times in the EPQ. So don't stress about tiny things about the wording. It's making sure that you have the right topic and making sure that there's a debate that is at the center of your topic. A reminder to those students who are doing an artifact, you do not need a debate or a question. You will need a research purpose, something that your artifact is going to do, and a way of evaluating and judging it at the end. Now, I've explained to you before that an absolutely key element of the EPQ is what we call the production log. As you can see here, these are all the different parts of the production log that you will fill in over the course of the year as you take the EPQ, and you will discuss these stages with a supervisor. So I just want to remind you of the importance of having a supervisor. You now have 1 week. Your EPQ teacher will not do this for you, and they will not chase you for this. This is part of the EPQ assessment. And the first thing that you're going to talk to your supervisor about is the initial ideas that we're going to be covering today. Now, your EPQ teacher will give you a Word document where you're going to start the actual writing of the production log. And the first entry is called the initial ideas. And this is where we're going to record the first research question, like I told you here, the working question, okay? Now, you're going to record a general title or titles. You can do up to 3 or 4, and I'll show you one in a moment where a student has done that. Then you're going to write out a few paragraphs about your ideas for research and development. This is important because it should be quite detailed and it should tell the story of your research. So you could talk about drawing up your mind map and how you're attempting to do reading and how you are narrowing the question and making sure that there's a debate at the center of it, and you're making sure that it is quite a feasible question that can be answered and that it is narrow and deep, not too broad. But as I say, it doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. You simply have to be showing progress. So you're talking to the examiner and you are telling them about your strategies at getting to the research question. Now, as I said, each of you will need a supervisor. Now, within 2 weeks, I'm going to check that this is completed. You're going to need to have a discussion with your supervisor about your research topic. Some of you have come to see me, but obviously I can't see every single one of you because there's 100 of you. So you can talk to your EPQ teacher in class, but the main person should be your supervisor. That said, I want to remind you, they are not going to give you the question. It's up to you to come out with different versions of the question and to discuss it with them and to use them as a soundboard. Now, in the production log, there's always a section that says modifications I have made a result of a discussion with my supervisor. You must fill this out. And so at the beginning, you put down your initial ideas. By the end, you want to be moving towards your first formal research question. So what does a good one look like? Well, this is the beginning part of the initial ideas. This is a student who's written, as I delve further into Formula One technology, I realized that due to the confidentiality of the developments made by various teams, there was almost no detailed research available. Even though my EPQ had strong arguments of humans versus technology and how it negatively impacted the sport, I had to abandon this idea due to the sheer lack of information. Then he goes on to say, although I did do my mini presentation on this to the class as I was trying to find reliable a source of research. So what I want to stress in this, and this example will be made available to all of you, is that you need to speak of that process of finding the research question, all the difficulties you encountered, because you will earn marks for problem solving in doing this. I must emphasize again, students, the production log is as important as the final 5,000 word paper or the artifact. So you must go into detail, illustrate it, evidence it. This is why it's so important that after every EPQ class and after every meeting with your supervisor, that you are taking careful notes. And those notes can then be cut, pasted into the production log. Next term, this will become extremely important. Another thing I want you to record in your initial ideas is the sources. So we see the student here, he had 4 different research questions, potential research questions. They are all about fairness in sport and drug taking in sport. And in order to make sure that he's moving towards a better question, here he shows he has 5 sources that he's going to be using to help him find that perfect research question. So I must emphasize, even in this early document, I want some sources down, whether they're internet sources, whether they're documentaries, whether they're podcasts or newspaper articles. These should most certainly appear in this document. Now, when you meet your supervisor, I want to remind you of something extremely important. They are not going to give you the information and spoon feed you. If that's what you're looking for, the EPQ is the wrong qualification for you. So it is absolutely essential that you understand they are more like a coach. You can bounce ideas off them and they can give you some general advice. What is really important is that you record these conversations. You could do that on your phone, or you take contemporaneous notes, detailed notes, that you can then use for your production log. Because as you can see from this particular student here, having a very detailed approach, reminding yourself, if you're to do this well and to get maximum marks, you will need excellent notes to do so. Another reminder, and I might just go back to the calendar here just to remind you, when by the end of term we're taking in these research proposals. So we're going to begin writing our research proposal in week 9, as you can see, and we'll be covering some things like referencing and academic writing to help you. Now, there are a lot of resources that I have prepared to help you with this process. This SharePoint folder over here shows you there's a whole folder here called Research Proposal, and inside this I've put videos, I've put examples of research proposals, and you can also see the frame for the research proposal. So although you don't have to start that now, it would be a very good idea to be looking forward. It's also very important that you look at other EPQ student reports so that you can get a sense of where you're going. And finally, do not forget to attend the EPQ presentation evening. As I've said before, there will be a register, and I'm expecting everybody to be there or to come and see me. So finally, you need today to fill in the record of initial ideas. You need to make sure that you are showing progress in your research all of the time. You need to make sure that you have a supervisor and that you've contacted them and that you are discussing your initial ideas with them. But once again, I want to remind you, they are not there to teach you, they are there to coach you, okay? And inside these initial ideas, don't forget, you need to put some specific sources down. Good luck with your initial ideas. I hope that you're all enjoying the course. It's a wonderful opportunity to learn some of your own research skills, and I look forward to seeing you all at the EPQ evening on Thursday, the 3rd of November. Thanks for listening.